details about Omar Mateen. He was born in New York. We're getting word. His wife was from Uzbekistan. He was a licensed security officer, we're told. He had a statewide firearms license. And his father, who goes by Mir, has talked to authorities as we look live at Omar Mateen's house. He has also talked to a couple of media outlets, the father has, saying this wasn't about religion, it was about, he was angry about homosexuals kissing in Miami. For more on all of this and insight into the investigation, two experts. Fox News contributor Rod Wheeler, a former D.C. homicide detective, is standing by on the phone. And Sebastian Gorka, author of the book Defeating Jihad, is here in the studio. Sebastian, I just want to start with you. You hear this back and forth and the parsing between, is this a hate crime? Is this a terrorist attack? The authorities saying this is a terror attack, period. That he has leanings towards the radical Islamic ideology, period. And we're getting more information that the FBI may have had some kind of investigation at some time. The difference without a distinction between, where radical Islam is with gays and lesbians and this attack, could be blended into one.
We have to understand this is a watershed moment. This attack, the largest murder attack in US history, is the second biggest terrorist attack after 9/11. I am fearful that already we are hearing talk about this being a hate crime. We're hearing already in the left-wing media the focus on guns. This isn't a tragedy like an Amtrak train being derailed, nor is it a hate crime. This is part and parcel of the jihadi ideological strategy. Look at Bataclan, look at Paris, look at London, look at Brussels, look at the attack in San Bernardino. This is all part of a strategy. Homosexuals are being thrown off roofs of tall buildings by ISIS in the Middle East. Why? Because they're homosexuals. If we get this wrong, if the administration tries to paint this as some kind of homegrown, some kind of hate crime, then they will have demonstrated one thing. They haven't understood the last 15 years and that ISIS is here to kill all infidels, especially the LGBT community.
Rod, your thoughts on this investigation? I was struck early on that the FBI agent went as far as he did answering that question about leanings towards radical Islamic ideology. But now, having heard that the FBI may have had this guy at one time or another under investigation, it seems to kind of make a little bit more sense.
Well, it does, Brett. It makes a lot of sense. As a matter of fact, it all goes together and comes together because you look at this guy's history, and we're just starting to learn a lot more about who this guy, Omar Mateen, is. And then you look at some of the involvement that he has had previously with law enforcement. The fact that he even was a security officer at one time really comes as a surprise to me. But here's the thing that really stands out, which tells me that this is nothing but a terrorist attack, is the fact that look at the venue that he selected, look at the time by which he committed his act, and then the last thing that's so important is look at the type of weapon that he used. An AR-15 is what they're saying now this guy probably used. These are all the fingerprints, if you will, of a terrorist. He goes into the club, he opens up on a massive number of people. This is exactly what terrorists do, i.e. Bataclan, just as your other person just said. And then you open up on these folks, and then you go and you have a battle with the police, and then you die. And then when you die at the hands of the police, you consider yourself somewhat of a martyr. So this is nothing but terrorism on its face.
All right, Rod, tell me about this attack. You mentioned he has an AR-15.
Right.
He has a handgun, but still, to kill 50-plus people.
Yeah.
You are reloading. You are trained. This is not something that you just happen upon.
Oh, absolutely not. This guy had planned for this. Now, let me just share with you and the viewers real quick. I've been to that club before. About a year ago, I went there with some of my friends. And I can clearly see how this guy was able to pull this off. Now, that club actually pat people down, search people for weapons before you go in. But look at the time. Remember I just mentioned, look at the time in which the attack occurred, right around 2 o'clock, 2:05. They don't pat people down around that time. You know why? Because most people are coming out of the club. So I think that's the time that this guy selected, to go into the club and do what he did. Now, in addition to that, once he got into the club, He just opened up. He had probably, hundreds, if not thousands of rounds of ammunition. And with an AR-15, you can shoot 100 rounds in about 9 seconds. So it was very easy. And once you get through that main door at the Club Pulse, Brett, once you get through that main door, there's the dance floor right there. And you have at least 300 to 400 people right in front of you. So if you have a weapon like that, all hell is going to break loose.
Sebastian, we are in Ramadan. There have been threats, including one specifically targeting Florida on the internet from ISIS. We don't know if there's a tie to that as of yet. But the threat level, it seems, if you talk to intel analysts and experts, is only increasing and has increased dramatically in recent weeks and months.
Right. Again, let's take politics out of the equation. Let's look at the facts. 2 weeks ago, we arrested the 101st ISIS suspect on U.S. soil in the Bronx. That's more than 100 people on U.S. soil linked to ISIS. Duke University just published a report on Muslim extremism in America. 2015 saw the highest incidence of jihadi conspiracies on U.S. soil since September the 11th. That's what people sit back and digest. We have been at war for 15 years with the jihadis, Al-Qaeda and now ISIS. Last year saw the highest number of plots on U.S. soil. We are losing this war because political correctness is allowed to get into the analysis. And remember what happened after San Bernardino. The Attorney General's first presser, what does she say? Our priority is to make sure that we don't have Islamophobia in response. People are massacred on U.S. soil, and the administration is worried about Islamophobia. Clearly something isn't working, Brett.
Sebastian, Ron, thank you very much for the time. We have continuing coverage of this, the worst mass shooting in U.S. history, happening at this Orlando nightclub. Breaking news from Fox News Channel after the break.